Good morning, everyone. It's Marla Copal, the Vitality Mentor, and I'm here today with my broadcast on In Spite of. And I've selected a topic today that doesn't get discussed often. So it's about leadership. And I got I wait till I get up every morning and to see what inspiration I'm going to have because these are interesting times. So, in spite of what's going on, in spite of, we still have a lot of people willing to throw opinions out there about what decisions leaders are making. And let me tell you something that people don't often think about. And leaders know this, but we've gotten so much of politics involved where we want to be the person who's all knowing that we sometimes are making poor decisions because we're basing them on emotions. So here's the situation. A leader makes decisions based on the information that they have at hand. They do not have a crystal ball. So when we have leaders making decisions based on information out of foreign countries, in which they've already had a 3-month experience with a virus, they are still doing the best that they can because one, all the information is not in. Two, they have a trend that has not had 2 years of analysis and statistical review. And what could have been, was it the truth? All of that. So a leader makes a decision based on the moment. And those of us who are in leadership positions and have no better answer, have no better solution, have no better idea of how to operate, other than that we want to puff up our chest and be the person who was right. It's the wrong time right now to do that. Pulling together does not mean you like that person, does not mean you would like to have lunch with that person, does not mean you would take that person home to meet your family. But when a leader makes a decision based on the masses, what can be good for them? This is not cultism, as I had somebody post yesterday. This is not whether it's Democrat or Republican. This is about survival, everyone, because a large part of our population will be affected by this. Do we know how much that is? No. But it is a leader's job to take care of the large population, not just individuals. Individually, we build that large population. So what we have to understand is that a leader is making a decision based on the information they have right now. There's no way to measure the effectiveness of a decision until it's over. I speak from simple experience of managing crises like evacuating a building because of gas leaks or fire or things like that. Did I always make the right decision? I made the best choice. I made the best decision that was available to me at that time. That's all a decision is. And leaders are good leaders if they recognize that the leadership making the master decisions has to be supported. That is time for a leader to follow. If a leader cannot follow at an appropriate time, they're not a leader. So all of these people that are out there doing politics right now, and I'm not talking party, if they are thinking that they are showing us their leadership by dissing the major decision that has been made here in the United States, then we all should rethink how we do business with that person. So decisions are not based on whether somebody's going to like you. It's not based on whether they, if they have that level of immaturity, then maybe it's time to see them disappear in your lifetime anyway. So let me explain to you one simple situation that I had in my lifetime. Let me get off the serious and get to the kind of serious, crazy part. But when I was 22, I was hired as an assistant watch officer at Hurricane Island Outward Bound School, and that was a first year they'd ever had women. So we're talking 1972, all right? And the school is designed around sailing on a 30-foot wooden pulling boat. So imagine your old Moby Dick movies where the guys are rowing out to harpoon the whale. That's the type of boat it is. Now you can sail that boat or you can row that boat. But to sail that boat, you have to step. That's a 200-pound mast. So the mast is laying in the middle of the boat. You've got 14 girls on the side, age 16 to 25. And so here was day one. We get there, we get our foul weather gear, we get our boots, we get our bunks assigned, and at 1 o'clock, we are at the dock. We all get in the pulling boat thinking we're going to get a safety lesson. We get nothing. The instructors get in the boat with us, and then a power boat tows us out into the middle of the bay. Now we're less than a quarter of a mile away from the island. We can see the dock. The power boat lets us go. The instructors tell us one thing: get back to the island. Well, we all think it's a picnic, right? And so they get off the boat on the power boat, and the instructors leave 14 people who do not know one another, varying levels of maturity, varying levels of sailing experience, some with none. And we have a 75-pound rudder laying in the boat, 200-pound mast, and two girls take off their tops and just start sunbathing. Two of them say, well, we should sail. Two of them say we should get the rudder in and get guidance. Two of them say we should row. So now here's the upside, the 2.5 hours later. So first of all, three of us just took it upon ourselves to step the rudder. That means we had to lift 75 pounds, figure out how to get it in, fit it. And so we had guidance. But all the while, here's the chatter that's going on. Who made you the leader? Who decided to do this? We have to have a group opinion. So for 2.5 hours, this goes back and forth. And what kept us from making a decision to just get it over with, row, and get back? Well, one, we didn't have the reality that it took only two of us really to row that boat. We learned that in the next 30 days we were together. We wanted to be liked. And that wanting to be liked allowed us to be swayed and moved to not make a decision. So 2.5 hours later, where are we? We are right up against, now here's the thing you don't know about Maine. We're in Maine. I didn't say that. All the islands are granite rock. There's no sandy beach. Sandy beaches do not exist in Maine. It is granite rock. You hit, you crack, you break. So the whole time, the instructors are out on a 50-foot power boat watching us, hoping that we'll get smart, hoping we'll get it together. Well, the only time we got it together was when we are actually coming up on a granite rock. And three of us pulled out the oars. And you don't use the blade part. We were smart enough to know you just get the handles out there. And we were holding ourselves off the rock. Luckily, there weren't any big waves. Luckily, the tides had been coming into the bay, not out. Because if they had gone out, we would have been 3 miles out in the Atlantic Ocean. Luckily, the tide was coming in at the point they let us loose. And we had a 2-hour cruise through islands on the tide until it finally wanted to run us into this rock. So when we got there, here we are pushing ourselves off, and there's still 3 people in the boat yelling, who made you the leader? And at that point, I finally got it. I turned around and I said, I did, because otherwise you're going to be swimming. Do you want to be wet or do you want to be dry? And then I just realized that that was a big learning moment for me. So what happens is the instructor of the school was very frustrated with the instructors because they had let us go too long to learn our lesson. So he comes over on a power boat, jumps up on the island, gets in, and he starts barking orders. Pull out the rowers. Here's what you do. He got us off that island, and we were pretty tired. So then they stuck us on another island. We had to build a fire. We had to make a meal together, and we had to discuss what we had gone through and how we were going to play better together for the next 30 days, because what none of us had realized is each of us was responsible for the other 13 lives in that boat. Didn't matter who made us leader. We were responsible for the other 13 people in that boat. Now, I have more to this story, but I have to say that at that point, I recognize that nobody will ever, ever, ever be appreciated for their leadership 100%. So what you have to own is that each of us as human beings, before we go off and we complain about a leader, it would be nice to look at what tough choices they had to make. It would be nice to look at what information they had, whether it was good or bad, and to note that they were working from what they had in the moment. And the goal and objective was always to save as many people as possible. So I'm not going to complain about leadership decisions that have been made. And you don't want to be one of those people who gets noted for that. So when someone comes to me with a solution, whether I agree with that solution or not, depending on the issue and concern, I may say nothing or I may say something. But I only want to add to the solution. I only want to add to the perspective. I only want to add to thoughtfulness. So there's more on this, and I think I'll bring that up tomorrow because I don't want to go too long. But I really want you to think about what leadership really is. And there's more to this, and I will continue tomorrow. But what I want to do is invite you to my new podcast that will be at 1:30 on every day until we get through. It'll only be 15 minutes. It'll be at 1:30 Mountain Time. And I will post that on Facebook here really soon. And I'm going to be interviewing people, business owners, moms, practitioners, anybody that's having a situation. And we're going to talk about the positive. We're going to talk about what they're doing to build resiliency, to bring stamina into their lives, and how they've adjusted on the positive note. So we're not dissing anything that's going on in the world. We're working on the pull together, in spite of, rise above, get it done. Let's get this nation healed. Thank you, everyone. It's Marla Copal, the Vitality Mentor. Talk to you soon.